Hey, welcome back to another edition of Open Shuttered. Have the pleasure of welcoming Scott Visscher to the program. Hope I'm saying your name correctly, by the way, your
Yeah, you
surname.
got it. Yep, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Um, Thanks, man, for jumping on this thing.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to it. I'm sorry it's been taking forever to actually lock down a date to schedule with you.
No worries, man. It's been a busy year for you, though, no?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
been busy. I do a lot of night photography, so
yeah,
my evenings I'm out late, usually on the weekends,
yeah.
and then I joined a local artist club, so I've been able to kind of showcase some of my artwork or the photos
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So I've been steadily getting more busy and busy, which is nice.
It's good. Eh? It's been a good year for the night sky this year,
Yeah.
eh?
Oh, totally. Yeah. The Northern Lights has been crazy this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And whereabouts are you located?
I'm in Newmarket, so
Yeah.
just north of the city. I lived in East York for the longest time, and then in the pandemic, we moved north out of the city.
Right.
So I've been up in Newmarket now for maybe 4 years or so.
Cool. You like it up there?
Yeah, no, it's been good, and it's a little bit closer to get to the darker skies, which is nice.
Right.
So I've been kind of liking that as well because you know the slog of going up the DVP and the
Right.
404 and stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. It kind of makes you think twice about doing the trip if you
Yeah.
have to sit in like an hour traffic, right?
Mhm.
My thing is like always make it as easy as possible to get
Yeah.
to get to get out the door. It's always I always find like the hardest part is just leaving the house sometimes,
Yeah. 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 For
you
sure.
know? There's so many reasons like not to do it. You just need to find like the reason to like do it. So,
Yeah.
the less objections the better kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Right.
it's been a good move for the family, so we've really enjoyed it up here
Yeah, man.
so far.
Cool. So, I mean, what do you want people to like know about you? I know that you do the night sky stuff, but like
Yeah.
what like separates your work from like everyone else?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, yeah, like I've always enjoyed taking photos, and then I think it was maybe, I was a little late to the game in joining, like, Instagram. I joined in maybe,
Yeah.
like, 2018 or something, and I
Right.
remember joining and seeing all these cool night shots, and I specifically saw this photographer out of Toronto, Gary Cummins.
Yeah.
He did these awesome abandoned house photos with the night sky, and it just like I was really drawn to like how he did that, and so I kind of knew my basic like night photography like settings, but
Right.
I I wouldn't say I was like an expert in it at all. So
Okay.
I did a workshop with him back in like 2021, and that just kind of like kicked off my
Ah,
enjoyment of like taking night photos a lot more and just like
cool.
learning a little more of the technical aspects of like what goes into a nice like
Right.
night photo. So I think going back to your question, like I don't know makes stands apart from others with my night shots. Like I do a lot of planning and like a lot of research prior
Okay.
to like going out. Like usually I just don't like grab my camera and like go north or something. Like
Yeah.
on like Google Satellite and Google Street View quite a bit, trying to find like some interesting locations and using photo pills for like
Right.
alignment shots or like where's the
Right.
Milky Way going to be or uh,
Yeah.
the moon is out, like where the moon's going to be. So I, if I
Well,
had
it's
my Google Maps up, it's just like littered with pins of like different locations in like
yeah.
Ontario that I like to go to.
Well, it's definitely working out for you though, eh?
Yeah, yeah, no, thanks.
Like, it's working out for you pretty good.
Yeah. And I've met like a lot of awesome like other photographers like through Instagram, um, which is funny. Like doing like night photos. I've
Yeah.
met a few photographers for the first time in like middle of nowhere, middle of the night. It's like,
Yeah, stuff
hey,
that
what?
your mom told you not to do when you're a
Yeah,
kid, like, don't meet strangers in a field in the middle of the night,
yeah,
like
exactly. It's just like, hey, let's
yeah,
meet in the middle of nowhere on this dirt
yeah.
road and take some photos. But so far, it has worked out for me.
Yeah, so far it's worked out, right?
Yeah.
Cool, man. Like, what's the tip to get, like, the photos that you're getting? Like, is there, like, a setting that you're using or the type of
Um,
lens that you're using?
so I mean, definitely like long exposures. Depending on like what. you're going for if you're trying to get some nice stars, and like what kind of camera you're using. But like usually I'll like set my camera to 20 seconds to start, push,
Right.
and then whatever your open aperture can set to. So like, I've been shooting with a crop sensor, uh,
Yeah.
Canon 80D. So I mean, it's a few years old now,
Right.
and I have a Sigma f 3.5 lens, which looking back, I probably could get a lens maybe like f 2.8 or something, which helps bring in more light. But
Sure. Sure.
um, a majority of my photos I do still take with that crop sensor camera, and I just know I feel very comfortable using it.
Right.
So I think using like the longer exposure, and then I've learned like a technique called star stacking.
Hmm.
Some people use like a star tracker, which is like
Yeah.
another piece of equipment that you can mount to your tripod. But
Yeah.
stacking, you just like take 10 to 20 photos, like one after another, using like a interval
Right.
timer, and then the software kind of merges all those 20
Right.
photos into one, and it just like makes the stars pop a bit more.
Warp speed, man. Warp speed.
Yeah, so
Very
it's
warp speed.
like I feel like I started off maybe in like 2018 or something with I had my first camera was a Canon T2i, the Rebel series, and I just had like
Yeah.
that camera. I think it was like maybe it was like 2012 is when it came out, maybe a couple of years before that. And I was using a kit lens,
Yeah.
yeah, but you're still able to like pull a good amount of stars out. And I was shooting JPEG. I was like
Right.
super nervous of shooting in RAW.
Why?
Um,
Why are you shooting? Why are you never shooting raw?
yeah, it just felt like a big, I don't know, it felt like a
Too.
hurdle to me when I first was learning like editing. And
Yeah.
I was probably up until I had that session with Gary in 2021.
Mm.
I was shooting JPEG like quite a bit. Um, I didn't want to splurge on like Lightroom or Photoshops, and
Okay, I gotcha.
I was,
I
yeah, I
gotcha.
was like, well, my JPEG photos look okay, and I slapped like Google has this like app called Snapseed, so
Yeah. Shout out
slap a
Snapseed.
preset on it, and I was like, oh, it looks pretty good, and I posted it. But then like as
Loving it.
I finally dived into the like, okay, I should try to do raw, and like watching
Right.
for like YouTube creators and tutorials and whatnot.
Right.
Uh,
Then you're like, where you been all my life?
yeah, I was like, okay, I see the reason why people shoot raw,
Yeah.
especially with like night photos too, like pulling out a lot more of
Sure.
the details.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's very cool, man. I mean, some really cool stuff. I mean, I assume this is yourself in the photo.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
um, that one was I think it was last year. Yeah,
It's cool.
um, yeah, I found this place just like in the Kawartha Lakes area, and set my camera up on like a interval timer. So I think I ran out into the frame for that one, and
Yeah, that's
then
cool.
I've been enjoying like adding some like light to the foreground in some of my
Yeah,
images
I like
instead of
it.
just being at like kind of pitch black. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you're using your car there, which is
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
I
The
don't know, it
winter
just makes
time
the
is
photo different.
Yeah, wintertime is hard. I find like you don't get a lot of clear nights in the winter, so
Yeah,
you gotta really seize the opportunity if there are some, because it's
right.
last year was like really cloudy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I
learned
like
like those. Yeah, like that shot there. It
that's
was
cool. I like that a lot.
near Killbear Provincial Park, and it was like
Mm,
3 in the morning or something. I met up with
yeah,
another photographer, Jeff, who I've learned a lot from. He's been really great.
yeah.
So we like hiked out into like Killbear from like the non entrance area, and found
Mhm.
this spot, and we were there from like 1 a.m. till like 5 6 in the
Yeah,
morning.
right.
So it was just like a beautiful,
Sacrifice, eh?
yeah. So
Sacrifice of sleep.
yeah, sacrifice of sleep. I think that night
Yeah,
we decided to rent a hotel and crash for a few hours because we
right.
didn't want to risk driving like too tired on the
Sure,
way back.
sure.
But that was cool. That was like one of my first times shooting a Milky Way arch. So
Yeah.
I've learned like as I've been doing more night photos, like the Milky Way like changes its like kind of trajectory across the night
Mm,
sky, as like the months progress. So
right.
in Ontario, and if you want to get the nice like arching shape of it, you have to kind of shoot it early in like April.
Oh,
Or
really?
yeah, Or else right now, like September, it just is faded away and it's more like vertical. So
Interesting. Yeah, it's all timing. You gotta know this stuff to really kind of get it. Otherwise, it might be a bust day.
yeah, that's why. Yeah, a lot of planning goes into it. Photo Pills, the app is like really, really good at showing you like moon phase and
Hmm.
where the Milky Way is gonna cross the night sky. So that's really
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah,
So I'm always on Photo Pills quite a
yeah.
bit and like checking with the weather network too to see forecast. And I have like 6 other like weather apps. One's just like specifically for clouds, just to make
Oh
sure it's like
man,
gonna be
you're all
cloudy.
geared up. You're all geared up.
Yeah,
So where are you going this weekend to shoot?
yeah. uh, I don't think I'm going out this weekend. Yeah, I was just thinking before I came on here. I was like, have I
Yeah,
been out recently? And
yeah,
I think the last time I went out was early November. Someone actually contacted me to take some photos of their dad's like old farm out near Coburg.
yeah.
So they had seen some of my photos and asked me if like I could take some nice like night photos of their old barns
Oh,
out
cool.
there. So that was a nice little project. But yeah, I don't have anything planned as of right now. But you never
Okay.
know.
Never know. I guess unless the sky blows up and you gotta
Yeah,
get it. It's
exactly.
like okay.
Yeah,
Northern Lights again is happening all of a sudden.
I have that like Aurora forecast app, so I have it set
Right.
to like if it reaches the KP of like 5, it's like I'll
Oh,
definitely pay attention.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
I've gone out a few times where it's like it said something's gonna happen, and then you go out
Mhm.
and it's like nothing's happening. What's going
Nothing's
on?
happening. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Jeez, man,
yeah. So
crazy.
like you're driving like an hour and a half, like at least from like Newmarket, and then it's kind of like a don't like a dud, and it's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like you're not guaranteed anything. You're just kind of like hoping, but
Yeah,
what happens when you stay up all night and you don't get it? It kind of sucks, right?
it does kind of because yeah, it can suck, especially like I've gone out thinking my apps have said it's clear, and then I'm driving and I'm like, oh yeah, it's like clear sky, like nice stars, and I get to my
Yeah.
spot that I want to shoot at, and then it's like cloudy, and you're just like, oh, and you wait a little bit, and you're like, well, how much longer do I
Yeah,
wait?
how long do
So,
you wait, right?
sometimes like you're kind of at the mercy of the weather, and you just have to roll with it. So either you pivot and maybe try to
Yeah,
take a
and do you have,
different
like, a
type of
backup
photo.
plan, like, to do other stuff, or that's just, like, you just have one
Uh,
shot on mind and that's it?
yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll like switch it up. Like I do like playing with like light, like I did a steel wool
Right.
workshop with T dot shots.
Yeah,
When was that? In September, October?
yeah.
October, because it was right before Halloween. So sometimes I'll switch it up, and it's like if it's cloudy and that's not working out, sometimes I'll have some steel wool or something in my backpack, and
Cool.
I'll try like an interesting shot, or using like I have a light wand that sometimes I'll try that.
Okay.
But I definitely do favor like night photos,
Yeah.
which also is like because I have 3 small kids, it's like
Mm.
easier for me to go out in the evening. They're asleep, and then I'll go do my stuff. Yeah,
Do you ever
going
do you
out
ever
during the day is a bit trickier, like, 1 with a regular job and then 2
Yeah,
with
yeah,
little kids, so
right.
but,
Do you,
yeah,
like, do you ever show the photos to your kids? Like, do they, understand or they're too young?
yeah, no, they get it, like, they like the star photos,
Mm.
like this one here, they like
Yeah.
the spinny stars, as they call it,
Yeah, yeah.
but, like, my oldest is, like, 10, so she's, like
Okay. Mhm.
when we were at the cottage, at a relative's cottage on the summer, I was out taking photos, and, like, she came out and was, like, curious what I was doing, so
Yeah.
we ended up, doing some light painting, like, doing some hearts and stuff, and then
Oh,
she'd
well, that's
run
fun,
back
eh?
and take a look at the back of the camera, so it was cool just to, like, see her experiment with it just to see,
Yeah.
like, what I was doing and stuff, so it is
Yeah.
fun, especially when they're interested.
Yeah, they might get into it themselves,
Yeah, for sure.
to photography, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always wish I'd started earlier, but I didn't, right? Because it wasn't really a thing for me, like, in high school or anything, like, I didn't even wasn't even a thing, so
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
you
like,
just
I remember in high school, like, my mom, like, once in a while would, like, give me, like, a disposable camera,
right.
and, I'd, like, take some of those photos, but that was kind of, like, the end of it, like, I'd take the photos, develop
Yeah.
them, and then be like, "Oh, that's cool," and then,
Then you
I
just
think
moved on.
I moved on, and then yeah, it wasn't until I got married, like, we got, like, the Rebel camera, and then I wanted to
Right.
learn how to use it, like, more, properly, so I took, like, a couple, courses with, like, a photographer just to learn, like,
Yeah.
basics and stuff, but I kinda learned the basics, but then I just kinda forgot about it. I just like, we went on a
Right.
trip, and then I tried manual mode, and maybe, like, 50% of those photos actually, like, turned out, like, a lot of
Yeah.
them were blurry or overexposed and stuff, and
Right.
then
Right.
I was like, "Well, enough of that, I'll just switch to auto mode," and then, kinda gave up on it, and, yeah, it wasn't until, like, a few years ago that I started, like, wanting to, lean into it a bit more, picked up the camera.
Yeah. What'd you do when you got back into it? Like, what'd you shoot? Like the night stuff again,
Um,
or
so I was, because we were living in East York, like, in Toronto,
yeah.
um, I had a good friend that was down there downtown, and he invited me out to do some, like, like, street photography,
Okay.
and he was doing, like, long exposure stuff, and like, I didn't even own a tripod or anything. So I just,
Yeah.
like, brought my camera out, and, he had an extra tripod, so he was showing me, like, how to take a long exposure. Like, I didn't know, like, even how to do that. I think that was, like,
Right.
2016 or something when,
Okay.
he invited me up, but he had this, like, really cool, like, light bar where he could, like, send an image to the light bar, and then, like, as one of us would run across the, composition, and then it would actually, like, project, like, an image during, like, the
Yeah.
long exposure,
Yeah, it's
and
cool.
yeah, so it was, like, really cool. So he kinda got me into, like, going out and, like, shooting more often, and then, definitely with, like, the long exposure photography. But I did find I was like, I think I joined Instagram around that time, so I was, like, seeing all these cool CN Tower
Yeah.
photos.
Yeah.
I
How'd
was
they
like,
do
"Oh, I
that?
wonder where they took those shots." So then I tried to
Yeah.
find that location, and, like, I was more, like, replicating the photos that I saw. I wasn't, like, I wouldn't say I was, like, being, like, super creative with it. I was just
Mm.
kinda, like, trying to learn how to take those photos. So I was, like, finding those locations, and then playing with my settings, and, like, being like, "Okay, that looks pretty similar to that photo now." So, yeah, it's so with the night, like, now that I'm doing night photography, I do find, like, I'm putting my own, like, unique spin, I guess, on it,
Yeah.
like, in these,
Of
like, different
course.
locations, so
Yeah. I think that's how we all learn too. Like
yeah,
you just kind of like see what everyone else is doing, and then from there you kind of make it your own eventually.
yeah,
You
yeah, for
know.
sure, and you're always learning, like, there's always, like, things to learn. I'd love to learn more, like, I do some time-lapse stuff, but I wouldn't say I'm, like, expert at it, so I
Right.
definitely wanna try to learn how to do that a bit more. Uh,
Where you can do time lapse?
um,
Is there a location you have in mind, or like a
not like
scene?
like, in Newmarket here, there's, like, if I don't wanna drive, like, too far, there's, like, one,
Yeah.
like, busier street, like, on Davis Drive that,
Right.
is a bit busier, which, like, a lot of traffic flow and stuff. So I've tried it, like, a few times, but, like, I've done it, a handful of times, and 50% are, like, good, and then 50%, like, I did the
That's
wrong,
life,
like,
man. That's
yeah,
life.
it's just, like,
That's
too
life.
overexposed, didn't work out. So still, yeah, still learning with that, but,
Yeah. 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 That's just life. I always find
yep.
you can't have it all the time.
Mhm.
You gotta like not win sometimes.
Yeah, and I mean,
So
I find that's, like, how you can learn too, like,
yeah.
like, trial and error a bit, so, like, it's like, it didn't work out, but now it's like, "Okay, it didn't work because of XYZ," so then you can try to, like, try it
Yeah.
again.
Sure. Well, especially with like time lapses and long exposures, because especially with like if you're doing traffic, like you have no control over the traffic, like how
Yeah,
fast they're going, how many cars are going by. Like
yeah.
someone may stop mid lane or something. So
Well, yeah, that's what
it's
happened with
harder
one
in
of
that
the
respect, you know?
yeah, that's what happened with one of the time lapses was, like, it was going really well, and then this like city bus just kind of
And it's
like
just like,
stopped, and it was just like there for like 3 minutes, and I was like, "Whoa."
"You're not helping me. You're not helping my cause."
Yeah.
I know, right? But yeah, no, it's good. It's good that you're meeting people. Was the course like online or in person?
Um, like the one I did like for night photography,
Well,
or
yeah, both of them, I guess. The one with his name was Charles, right?
Gary
Gary.
Cummins.
Yeah.
That one, it was like a workshop that I had just saw on his profile. It's like, DM me if you're interested in like a one-on-one session. So I was like, okay, I'll message
Cool.
him. So I met him. It was like the spring in 2021, like out in Prince
Mm,
Edward County at this
nice.
random like farm location that he had. And he's like, meet me here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it
Exactly.
was, yeah, a good like 3 hour drive, and we just like, yeah, kind of went over the different settings and like how he does lighting, because he does some really cool stuff with using a drone
Right.
uh, to light different structures. We didn't do that on that workshop, but the basics were or the
Mm,
principles were kind of there that we discussed. So
nice.
yeah, that was good. And then like when I first was learning, I just found a photography like studio in Toronto that they had
Yeah.
this like, beginners 101, learn like if you want
Yeah.
to, switch from auto to manual mode.
Right.
So I did they had like a 6 session course or something. So it was like
Okay.
1 hour a week, and then they'd
Oh,
teach you different settings, and then they'd be like, go out and capture this type of photo and then bring it back
right.
the next time. So that was like helpful, just like getting familiar with, the different knobs
Yeah.
and buttons and stuff on
Yeah.
the camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the end, it's always you that's like, in the end, it's always you trying to make the photo too. Like it's, you know,
Yeah.
like gear is great, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's also the person like composing the shot and
Yeah.
the angles and the lighting and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. No, like my that first camera, the Canon Rebel, like I felt like very familiar with that camera, like, and I was very sad when it broke, because I was just like so familiar with all the where the
Yeah.
buttons
What am I
were.
gonna do?
Yeah, like at night, like I knew exactly where like different like the
Right.
ISO and like
Right.
the shutter buttons, and like changing the white balance. Like
Yeah.
I just knew it. It was like kind of a second. But
Man.
yeah, I was very sad when that one broke,
Man.
but tis life. But yeah, I've been happy with the upgrade that I have, and then
Yeah.
I've purchased like a second camera, and
Mhm.
it's like another like 10 to 12-year-old camera, but
What'd you get?
it's a Canon 6D.
Yeah.
So it's a full frame, but I think again,
Right.
like it probably came out in like 2012, 2014 or
Mm.
something like that.
Mm.
Um,
You bought it used?
Bought it used off of like Facebook Marketplace
Yeah.
last year, and I've shot with it like a little bit, like that photo that you showed earlier with like me holding the flashlight up. Like
Mhm.
I think I took the photo with that camera and
Right.
some of the like Milky Way arch ones. So it does like take maybe like a cleaner image compared to the crop sensor one that I have. But if you're, yeah, I'd still say like you don't necessarily need to like upgrade your gear to take like nice photos. So like,
We all want to though.
we all want to like get the
We all want
greatest
the shiny.
camera.
We all want the shiny new toy. It
Yeah.
never ends though. Like there's always gonna be something else that you're gonna want. Like
No,
it
yeah.
never
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
ends. So
Yeah. So, and yeah, there's only so much money to,
yeah, it's a money thing.
yeah.
Like I'm always like less is more. Like actually like have less gear on you and see what you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it
You
like
know?
pushes you to challenge yourself to try like different things,
Yeah.
right?
And I think it also like separates your work from a lot of people because if you're able
Mm,
to do stuff with less gear, I mean, that's cool.
yeah.
So but I think sometimes people like that crutch of like, oh, I need to wait for the next model to come out and then
Yeah.
I'll do the thing. And then it's a way to like not do it because they
Yeah.
just use the gear as a way to like not do the thing. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people, people,
Like I
people,
just,
yeah, go ahead, sir.
no, I was just gonna say like I think I just posted like a star time lapse, like my most
Yeah.
recent post, and that one I used my crop sensor camera. I used like a lens that with I had
Hmm.
purchased with my original like kit like lens of the Rebel series, and I was still able to like pull it like pretty good, like star quality like from it with the software and like doing the star
Yeah,
the
that's cool, man. It's like warp speed, man.
yeah.
We're like the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah. It's funny though, I had posted this and I was like, why did my there's like the Milky Way starts at the beginning of it.
Mm.
I guess we're going backwards, but then I was like, why did I cut off the Milky Way? Like I feel like I should have composed that a little bit better.
Right.
And then I realized when I put it together, the time lapse had like went over midnight, so I actually only took the photos from midnight to like 2 a.m. I forgot to like stitch the photos I'd taken from like 11
Nice.
p.m. And I was like,
Good
oops,
times.
that's
Good
a rookie
times.
mistake. I forgot like a good like 200 photos of the time lapse. That's why it looks kind of funny, but
Good times, eh? Good times.
yeah.
You ever see like a UFO when you're out there?
I have personally never seen it. I remember the
No,
first time I saw
nothing.
the Starlink going across the sky. I was like, "What? What is
Oh
that?"
yeah.
Because it looks very interesting. Like, because it's like a series of I don't know, like 30 satellites or something. It's just like going across the sky. So that looks very trippy when if you ever see it.
Like the
Uh,
Elon Musk Starlink?
that's the Elon Musk Starlink. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
There's
So
just like 30 satellites roaming around.
yeah, and they're like all linear, like in a line, like they're just like firing
Really?
across the sky. So you don't see it like all the time, but I've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times now, and every time you see it, it just like
Really?
looks very strange.
Well, maybe Starlink is the UFO.
Yeah,
We can start the
you never know.
conspiracy. It's just disguised that way, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah, hey, you never know. Maybe one night you'll see something really wacky out there, you know?
yeah. I mean, I've met some other photographers that they think they've seen some crazy stuff. So,
No,
but I,
never know, man.
if I,
Never know.
that's a whole nother topic, I guess.
That's a different kind of
Yeah,
podcast. That's a different type of podcast.
yeah.
Um, what's like what's a common mistake you see people doing with
Oh,
photography that you see?
common mistake.
Yeah, that you just
Uh,
noticed.
that's an excellent question.
We
Yeah,
don't have to name names.
yeah. No, I mean, as with night photography, I find it like a little bit of a slower pace of things.
Yeah.
So maybe I would like the one thing that jumps in my head is just like thinking of what's in your composition and like
Mm,
looking at the edges of your composition and make sure there's no like clutter or
right.
whatnot. So it's like,
Like a
oh, there's a
tree
branch.
branch in the
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
thinking like, oh, like maybe I should just like move my tripod a little bit over that way. That will like get rid of that like branch or something like that. Um,
Yeah,
so because sometimes you're
details.
focused like you're like, oh, I want that in like the middle or whatever, however you're framing up rule of thirds or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And you like forget about to look around, right? So
Yeah.
I think maybe that might be
Good
an
point.
easy one, yeah, to
It's all about
oversee.
details, right? Sometimes all
Yeah,
about the small details I think really matter sometimes a lot.
yeah,
You know, just paying attention to like what's around you.
yeah. No, for sure.
Absolutely, man. And you got a calendar out.
Hmm.
Is it your first one? Yeah.
That's my first calendar.
Jeez, man, how did that come about?
So yeah, I joined this in 2023. I joined the like Newmarket group of artists, which is like a local artist kind of hub, and they do an art show in October.
Yeah.
I had my setup there in October in like a local gallery up here, and I was like, hey, maybe I should try to sell some calendars
Yeah.
at this art show. So I
Hmm.
did. I sold like a decent amount. Have a whole bunch left over, which makes me nervous because they have an expiry date on them. But it
Yes,
was
they
kind of
do.
fun, like creating it because I was going through like a lot of my images over the last like 2 or 3 years and trying to
Right.
pick like certain ones that I felt like went with the month.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. That's cool,
Yeah, that
man.
one in
Jeez.
June one in Presqu'île Provincial Park, I had like some camera hiccups while taking that one, but I was really happy with how that turned out. My
Yeah.
I had it also. We were on like a camping trip in at Presqu'île, and
Okay.
I had my camera ready to go. And then I get to the location, pull up my camera, set up on the tripod, turn it
Yeah.
on. No SD card
No,
inside.
no.
So I had wiped it before we left, and I was like, I was like, it's sitting on top of my dresser. Um, Luckily, I had like a backup SD card, but for some reason it wasn't formatting properly, and it would only let me
Yeah.
take like 20 images. So I
No,
had to be
really.
very,
It's like
very
you're shooting
careful with
film.
the
It's like you're
photos I
shooting
took.
film.
So I took 20 photos. That was one that worked out.
Wow, man. You've been all over the place, eh?
Yeah, so I initially when I started, I was only driving like an hour, hour and a half, but I've kind of learned that you have to go at least 2, maybe 3 hours from like the GTA to find like
Yeah,
really nice dark skies. So
yeah,
now that I'm based in Newmarket, I do find I go like kind of northeast around like Lake Simcoe quite a bit. I
right,
find it's pretty dark up there,
right.
but I'll head out, east of Oshawa, or northwest of like Orangeville or whatnot. But I haven't explored the like Niagara, that area too much. It's on my list, but
Yeah,
it's kind of far from Newmarket. It's like, a good 3 hours. So you're really committed to
yeah. You
going
almost
that
need to like
far.
make like a weekend out of it.
Yeah. And like most of the times I'm just like going out that night and I'm like returning. So like I
Yeah,
drive like 2 hours, take
it's
some
like all
photos for
night,
like
man.
2 hours,
It's like
and then I'm back. So there's been a few nights where like I'm coming home during the sunrise, and then
right.
luckily my wife is very kind to me. She lets the kids like not bug me, so I'll sleep in
Really,
the
eh?
basement or something, and then I get at least a few hours of uninterrupted sleep.
Wow.
But yeah, I do. Yeah, I
Cool,
do
man.
find I've put on a lot of kilometers on the car just driving around.
Yeah, you're always roaming around, eh?
Yeah,
And plus, like Ontario's such a big province.
yeah, no,
Like it's so big.
yeah, no, it's
Like
huge.
I don't think people that live in Toronto don't really understand like how big of a province it is. Because my buddy drove from Toronto to Vancouver. He said his best part of the drive was Northern Ontario.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've yet to. I was planning on going up to Killarney in September on a camping trip, and I had all my camera gear packed up because we're gonna do like a backcountry camping trip with some of my friends, and I knew it's like, I've never been that far north, so I was pretty
Yeah.
excited about it. But then it was like got rained out, and then we had to cancel it, unfortunately. So that is on my to-do list to
Okay.
make it up to maybe Killarney, or I've never been up to Tobermory. I know it's
Oh,
really,
really?
yeah. I've
Wow,
heard it's
that's
very nice up
shocking.
there too. So
That's shocking, man.
I know every time I tell somebody I've never been there, everyone's like, "How have you not been to Tobermory?" So yeah,
Wow.
that's on the to-do list as
Okay.
well.
All right.
Yeah.
Um, what do you like more, summer or winter to shoot the night?
Ooh.
Besides the obvious, the cold.
Yeah, I know, right? Probably the summer. Summer
Yeah,
is nice, but I do find winter gives you those like unique photos that,
yeah. Some more
um,
drama, right?
yeah, and like there's probably not other people out in like
Right.
-20 like
Yeah,
shooting
yeah, yeah.
photos, so you're gonna probably come away with something unique.
True, eh?
So I know, and like I've done those photos, like I'm wearing my layered layers and my snow pants and my winter jacket, too, gloves, like, so yeah, you
Takes you a
definitely have
half
to be
hour to get
committed to the
outside.
cause for those winter night photos.
Yeah. Well, so, and when you do get the shot, it's like, well, it was worth spending 30 minutes getting dressed.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
at least I get that shot, right?
yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, and it's funny, like, most of the time, like, I find these, like, places that are on, like, side roads, so there's not a lot of traffic, but you'll get the odd
Yeah.
location where it's more on a busier road, and then sometimes I'll just be, like, pulled off to the side of the road, and I'll be, like, in the ditch or something, or, like, slightly into, like,
Yeah.
a field, and you'll get cars that, like, come by and they'll, like, slow down and be like, "What
Are
the heck?"
you okay? Are you
Yeah.
okay, sir? Do you need some help?
Yeah, I've only I've had maybe 2 or 3 like locals kind of stop and chat to see like, "Oh, are you okay? What's going
Yeah,
on?"
yeah,
I've had police one time
yeah,
stop.
right.
I think someone actually called it in. They thought maybe I was like,
You're
up
dressed
to no
all in
good or
black.
something. But they were cool. I just showed them. I was like, "I'm just taking night photos. Here's my
Oh my
camera."
god, man.
But yeah, for the most part, it's been okay. Luckily.
You're all dressed in black, going through a field with like a big,
Yep.
like a duffel bag. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, that's good times, man. I mean, well, it's always good to stay inspired, right? How do you stay inspired? Like, how do you just keep going?
Um,
Sometimes.
I'd like to. I definitely like to like see other like photographers work.
Right.
Like I mean, Instagram's like so easy to like see like new things.
Yeah.
So definitely like doing that, and I have some like people on YouTube that I follow specifically for like night photography things that
Cool. Who's the go-to on YouTube for night?
uh the go-to guy that I've learned like a ton from is this guy out of Australia. His
Nice.
name is Richard Tati. He goes by like
Shout out Richard Toddy.
yeah, he goes by Nightscape Images. So he's awesome. He's a bit older, but like he has like a method of like how he takes his photos, and he's I've learned a ton from him. So if like you want to learn about night photos and like adding some light to your foreground and like how to merge those foreground images with your night sky, like he's awesome at explaining
This
everything.
guy?
Yes, yeah, he's really good.
Jesus. Is this Earth?
Yeah. Yeah, it was like actually a Toronto photographer told me about him, Dave Paul,
Yeah.
at DPEY.
Right.
He had told me about him, so ever since he told me, I've been following along quite a bit with him. He's really
Man.
good.
You ever reach out to him?
Um,
Dude?
I think I've messaged him a couple times.
Yeah.
After I've like watched, I remember like maybe a year or so ago, like when I was like, there's like an aha moment where you're like, when you finally, you're merging your images properly, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
that actually looked pretty decent. I think I sent him one of my photos, being like, hey, I like put your technique together, and he responded like, great
Nice.
work. So
Nice.
I find like Instagram's usually like pretty good. Like people will respond to you.
He's like the everyday explorer.
Yeah. And
of
in
course,
his videos, he's always like drinking hot tea. He's like, okay, I'm gonna just like make some tea before we get
yeah,
started, and
really? TA?
yeah, tea and
Well,
biscuits.
okay. Well, cool. Well, maybe you gotta get out to Australia one of these days too.
Yeah, I've never been to Australia, so
Yeah. Well,
yeah, we'll see.
you and Richard can do a thing or something.
Yeah, he's really good. And
Yeah.
one of the photographers I've shot quite a bit with is Jeff. He goes by at Blind Monkey Studios.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So he's quite good. He's been really helpful with like
Cool.
teaching me different techniques, and like we'll collaborate on shots and stuff because he has a drone, so he'll like fly the drone and light up like old houses and stuff. So yeah, it's been really good learning from him.
Yeah, it's always good to just meet other people and talk, because
Yeah.
are you the only person in your family that does this? Like, no aunts or
Um,
uncles or anybody else that's into it?
I'm probably the only one that like does photos. My sister-in-law paints.
Cool.
She's quite a
Night sky?
Right?
Night sky?
No, no, she doesn't do nice guy, but like she does like real life like paintings and
Oh, man.
drawings and stuff. So she's quite
Cool.
talented. But yeah, I wouldn't say
So you're
anybody
the
else.
only person in the fam, so
Yeah,
you gotta find your tribe, right?
yeah, and yeah.
Otherwise, it gets kind of lonely.
No, yeah, for sure. I remember when I first started on like Instagram, like I didn't really know what I was doing, and Eddie
Yep.
Mark and Pyro.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he messaged me once, like when I was first like posting. He's like, you're doing this wrong. Like, you're
Straight
not
up,
using.
just
He's like,
straight
you're not
up.
doing your hashtags right. You're not like tagging things. So like,
That's
I didn't know
hilarious.
what I was doing. I was just like, I'll post a
Right.
photo and people will like it, and that's how it
Yeah,
works.
that's how it works. Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't really know what like hashtags to add. Not that I don't think they do much anymore, but or like
Yeah,
tagging people and stuff. I didn't really know
yeah.
much about that. So he was like super helpful in the beginning, and he's like very, very friendly, nice guy.
Oh yeah, he's the best. Eddie's
I
the
think
best.
everybody knows him, right? In
Everyone knows
Toronto.
Eddie's. Eddie's been on the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah, he's the best. Yeah, everybody does know him. That's true. But that's what I mean. You gotta find like your tribe. Like you have
Yeah.
to find. I always tell people like you just gotta find like not a group, but you have to find like the right group.
Yeah.
'Cause if you're in the wrong group, then it's gonna be harder to like I don't know, just get the confidence to like try things and meet more people. Because
Yeah.
because there's a lot of people, especially in Toronto. Like, it's a very saturated city for like people in photography or any kind
Yeah.
of really other art form. It's very there's a lot of groups out here.
Yeah.
So you just gotta make sure that you find the right one.
Yeah. And I've collaborated with Mike from T Dot Shots
Right. Yeah.
several times with these like steel wool
Yeah.
uh, photography workshops, and it
Yeah.
just kind of like started on a whim. Like I had been following him, and then I saw he was like hosting an event in Toronto, so I joined it. It was just kind of like a street photography
Right.
workshop, and then I think he had just saw like a photo of mine with the steel wool, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, are you interested in doing a workshop?" And I was like, I'm no
Sure.
expert in steel wool, but I like, trying it. And now I think we've done like 5 steel wool workshops.
Cool.
Everyone always seems to
Yeah.
get, some enjoyment out of them because it's a little bit different. So it is nice
Yeah.
trying different things because you never know like how people react to it.
Yeah, I think people just wanted a platform to like try different things because
Yeah.
like people have no idea how to like, even like do steel wool. Like they don't even know like where to buy it, for
Yeah.
example. Right. So I think
Yeah. No, I had to research that a little bit. So I have my go-to steel wool that I order from Amazon, and I had to buy
yeah,
like a little whisk with a leash, and
sure.
then that's how
No,
you kind
you gotta like always like
of
run it back to actually because it's kind of like driving a car. You don't really think about driving the car, you just drive the car. But then when you gotta teach it,
yeah,
you have to go through all the steps
yeah,
because people don't know what you're talking about
yeah,
otherwise.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So it makes you kind of like, oh yeah, this is how I do it. Oh, I have to go through all these
yeah,
steps now. It's kind of good practice actually.
yeah. No, it's really good. Like especially with the steel wool, like because I don't do it like that much. Like I'll do it once in a while. But during these workshops, I'll like do it like I think we burned through like 40 different like you because essentially you get like one spin, maybe
Yeah.
1 or 2 spins out of one wool, and I think we burned through like 40 steel wool, so we had maybe like
Right.
80 shots, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
trying different like techniques with because depending on how you twirl it and spin it, like you get
yeah.
different effects from the sparks and stuff.
Right. Did you guys do it downtown?
Yeah, so we've done it
City
several
Hall?
times at like Humber Bay area where that
Yeah,
bridge
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Because there's like I find it looks cool when you can bounce the sparks off different
Yeah.
objects. So we found some like concrete pillars and under a bridge that you can like get the sparks to bounce by, and then you can walk to the beach area and you can get like a nice reflection in the water, and then you
Yeah.
get the CN Tower in there too, which is nice.
Yeah.
We did try it
Absolutely.
out in Cherry Beach
Oh,
another time, and that went okay, but it was it's a bit further of a hike and
yeah, it's not so
get out
central.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good, man. People just want like the chance to like try different things because
Yeah.
they just don't know how to do it sometimes. But
Mhm.
it's lots of fun, especially when you do it with people like in person, because it's always a different thing in person versus like online, or it's a different like dynamic when
Yeah.
you're teaching people in person because I don't know, there's like a certain like energy to it too, like you kind of like feed off the people's energy. Like when they actually get this shot, it's like
Yeah, and
you're
like
kind of
getting
happy for them,
people's I always like it because I've done these works that workshop specifically like 5 times, and I always like hearing people's reaction after, like, the first shot because, like, most people haven't seen it before.
Never seen
And
it.
yeah, so, like, you tell them the settings and you're like, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna light this on fire, and I'm gonna twirl it, and you're gonna take the shutter."
It's like they saw Santa Claus.
Yeah, and then you do it, and then it's like 10 seconds, and you just hear like, "Whoa!" Because like,
Yeah, it's good.
everyone's
It's
like
a cool feeling.
yeah,
It's like a collective, like, just good feeling, you know?
yeah,
It's good because it's just a different vibe versus, like, scrolling social media. It's like you don't
yeah,
really know what's happening, but then when you actually see it in person, it's cool,
yeah. No,
you
for
know?
sure.
Um, so, like, what do you want your work to be known for? Like, do you have, like, a certain thing that you want your work to be known for? Like,
Um,
if you had to,
mm,
like, you know, one
yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah, I guess like a like some sort of, I don't know, like, unique element to it that, not like I kinda because I put, like, a lot of, like, research and stuff into, like,
Yeah,
most of the photos, just, like I know talking to someone at, like, the art show that they were just like, "I can tell, like, by your photos, like, you've put a lot of, like, energy into, like,
right.
capturing that, like, it's not just like, "Oh, I'm passing by and I'm, like, taking a photo."
Yes,
Um,
exactly, exactly.
so,
You want
yeah.
it to be more than a photo.
Yeah, I've started to, like, be like, "How can I, like, make this photo" like, make the photo I guess, like, make the photo and just, like, take it, right?
Yeah,
And try to just, like, incorporate different elements, like, it's like, "Oh, I could take a photo of the stars with nothing in it, but, like, how could I make it a little more interesting?" So, I think,
yeah.
yeah, being a little
That
more thoughtful to the photo and, like, thinking about it, like, how you want that end result to look like.
mhm.
Um, like, I know in the summer, I was taking these, like, photos of a canoe at the lake, and, like, I had before I had taken them, I actually, like, had sketched out, like, "Okay, I think I want the canoe here, and, like, I want this lamp either, like, sitting on, the seat of the canoe or, like, beside it." So
Right.
I went out and, like, I tried those, like I kinda, sketched it out in on a piece of paper, and then I went out and, like, applied it, right? And some of it worked, some of it didn't, but it was
Yeah.
nice to try it.
Yeah, I think that's always the challenge to kinda, like, make your work just, like, different.
Mhm.
You want like, to me, it's like you want someone to stop mid-scroll, I think sometimes. It's just like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's
Yeah,
different,"
yeah.
you know?
And there's, like,
'Cause it's
so many
hard.
good photographers out there, right? So it's like
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, "Well, how am I gonna make this different?"
yeah, exactly.
What's the thing I'm gonna do, right? But
Yeah, yeah,
it comes with practice. It comes with a lot of practice, I think. Even
yeah,
like, for example, like shooting the eclipse. Like, oh, how am I gonna make the eclipse different?
yeah.
How am I gonna do that?
Never I wish I would've shot the eclipse.
You didn't shoot it?
I didn't shoot the
How
eclipse.
come? How come?
Uh, I was working that day. I mean, I could have probably taken it off.
Oh
Um,
man, that was your Super Bowl.
I know that was yeah, I should have done it. Instant regret after I saw everyone's
You saw
photos.
the billion photos on Instagram the day after.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I think part of me was like, "Oh, I'll just, like I bought the glasses, whatever, I'll just, like, look at it in real
Right.
time, that'll be good enough, and
Oh no.
I'll live through everyone else's posts," and then I think, like, Eddie had posted his, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that is
Damn
pretty
it,
cool. I wish I would've went."
man.
So,
Really? Eh?
yeah. Did you shoot it?
No.
No.
I didn't. It was yeah, I don't know, I just like, I couldn't because it was so popular, like, I
Yeah,
couldn't like, I'm not gonna I'm just gonna, like I was kinda like you, I'm just gonna look at other people's stuff.
yeah,
'Cause not that I was turned off by it, but I'm like, it's just too popular. Like, I
yeah,
can't, I wasn't really like, to me, I wasn't really inspired to shoot it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it was just everybody was doing it.
yeah,
So but I'm weird
yeah,
that way. I need to be able to, like, make it in my head, like, unique, and that
yeah,
day, I'm like, "It's not gonna be unique
yeah,
for me." Other people
yeah.
got it, but
Yeah, like, some people came up with some really, like, unique, photos, but like you said, there's a lot most of them are, like, if they're just zoomed up on the, like, sun or whatever, it's, like, pretty
yeah,
similar.
yeah,
But yeah, it's, like, definitely trying to, find that unique composition.
Yeah.
Even with, like, the Northern Lights, it's like that was, like, really strong in October. Like,
Yeah.
you probably everyone's grids was just, like, flooded with
That's
Northern
what I
Lights
mean.
photos for, like, days, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I mean, people got it, but, like, I always like my work to kinda, like, mean something in a way, like,
Yeah,
it has to mean something, at least to me, like, it has to mean it doesn't, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it has to, like,
yeah,
mean something. I just don't wanna do it just for the sake of doing it.
yeah,
Like, I have to actually wanna do it,
yeah.
because if my heart's not into it, then, what's the point, you
Yeah,
know?
no, for sure. I think that's like the great thing about like photography too is like I can look at a photo and like I know where I was and what time and who I was
Yeah,
with when I took like that photo and just like looking back on it versus
yeah,
like maybe going out and just like taking a photo because everyone else is taking that photo.
yeah, exactly. It's kinda
Yeah.
like the high school peer pressure, "Well, everyone's doing it." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, cool,
Yeah.
cool," but, well, maybe next time, maybe I think the next
Yeah.
eclipse is soon, I think, or something. I don't know. There's one like every week now.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Seems like 2024, there's always something like amazing happening, right?
The sky is always like coming down like every weekend. It's like, oh my god, gotta
Yeah.
do this, gotta do that. But oh my god, man, crazy.
Yeah.
Um, what else do you have left for the year? You have any big plans for the rest of the year?
Um I don't think yeah, like, I don't have any, photography stuff. Maybe there's, like, a meteor shower coming up.
Is
Is that in December? I'm just pulling
maybe
up my
Santa Claus is coming to town?
yeah, Santa
Shooting the
Christmas after
you
Santa
shooting,
Claus. Yeah, I think there's a meteor shower, like, mid-December, so I
is
might
there?
but I find meteor showers are, like, very tricky because like, you may, like, see a lot of them, like, whiz by, but then if you're not pointing, it's, like, hard to predict where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So, like, I know, like, one time I went out and I saw, like, a bunch, but I only caught, like, 3 of them in my camera.
Mm,
Um, but, yeah, I think that's probably it. I don't have any, like, big plans to, like, go shoot anything as of right now.
yeah. Alright.
I found, like, October was, like, a very busy, month for me, so I feel like I'm still, like,
Yeah.
recuperating
Yeah. Do you
because
ever get burnt out?
no, yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
like, losing a little bit of the passion to, like, go out and, like,
Yeah.
push yourself, especially, like, now that it's getting, like, cooler, like, I did that custom photo, like, a few weeks ago at that farm, but the weather was, like, still, like, kinda it was, like, mild, wasn't, like, too cool, and now,
Yeah.
I feel like fall is actually happening and winter's probably around the corner,
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's hard to, like, sometimes to push yourself to, like, get outside when it's cold and dark and wet.
Oh, it's the
Um,
worst. It's the absolute worst, man.
yeah, no one's like, "Hey, yeah, I do wanna go outside when it's raining."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So how
so,
do you how do you push through then?
um, yeah, sometimes I just have to push through if, like, there's an opportunity, like, especially if the weather's looking good and, um, as in, like, not cloudy, could still be
Yeah,
cold.
right.
Um, and, like, if I feel like I've kinda I sometimes I get to a point where I'm like, "Oh, I have no, like, photos to edit. I wish I, like, had something to work on right now."
Right,
So
exactly.
then it'll, like,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like, "Okay, I know it's cold outside, but, like, let's go take a photo of something." So then I'll start, like,
yeah.
figuring out where I wanna go to and, like, what kind of photo I wanna take. Yeah. So I think, yeah, you definitely have to push yourself, like, through that, like, sluggish period if you're not feeling like that
Yeah.
to, like, go out.
Well, like I said, it's so easy not to do it.
Yeah.
Just to sit on the couch and watch TV or whatever, it's like
Oh, yeah.
it's
That's the
so
best.
easy. So easy to do
Yeah.
it, man. It's like, nope, because
Yeah.
you're a trained professional and you will go out at 11 o'clock at night.
Yes. Yes, to the side road and just, yeah,
You
make
know,
it happen.
that's that's what separates everybody. That's what separates everybody
Yeah.
in like the long run,
Yeah.
but depends how bad you want it too, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's good, man. What's the advice for people that want to get into Astro? Like what's like one piece of advice that you would give?
Um, I think just try and
Yeah.
you probably since it may not work out, and that's okay. I think that's part of it. I think just keep on trying. A lot of trial and error. Um, there's a good amount of photos where I still my first photo, I have the lens cap on because I forgot to take it off.
Nice. We've all done that though.
Yeah, so it's like, "Oh, it's so dark." I was like, "Oh, wait, my lens cap." Yeah, I think just try and, like, and definitely, like, play with the settings and,
Right.
um like, I definitely have learned, like, certain, like, base settings that, like, I'll start with, like, usually,
Yeah.
and then I'll kinda tweak and play around. So, yeah, I think if you're interested in, like, astro and night photography, I think it's just, like, one, like, pushing yourself to, like, get out to those dark areas,
Yeah.
and if you're new to it, I can see how there's, like, a reluctancy to, like, go
Yeah,
out,
like a
especially by
safety
yourself.
issue.
So I
Maybe
think
try to find someone, I
yeah,
guess, to
exactly,
go
just, like,
with.
reaching out, and trying to find somebody to go out with, and
Yeah.
I do find, like, to start, I probably went to some more, like, public beaches and stuff that, I felt, like, more comfortable with, and then
Right.
as you get a little more comfortable with the night noises and branches cracking and stuff around you, you maybe venture a
Blair
little bit further.
Blair Witch style.
Yeah, I know in the early days, there was definitely times where I've, like, been set up and then I, like, hear some rustling and branches, and then I'm like, "Nope, I'm good," and then
Yeah.
pack it up, hop in the car.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, I think, yeah, just definitely trying and just, yeah, just, yeah, pushing yourself to get out there. Try. You might fail. That's okay. That's all part of the learning process.
Yes. It is the learning process.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's just I think it's just a matter of just like I think once you start trying, I think you've already kind of like gone way ahead of a lot of other people because people are just still sitting at home
yeah,
thinking about doing it versus actually doing it, right? So
yeah,
that's where like the first step comes in. I mean, it sounds so easy, but it really isn't.
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know?
it's like it's very simple, and, you just have to act on it, right?
Yeah, it's just but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody would be doing it.
Yeah.
Like what's the go-to place for if the conditions were perfect, what's the go-to dark place for you to go?
Um, yeah, I mean, it depends on what you
We'll
wanna
say
shoot.
like I don't know, Milky
Milky
Way.
Way?
Milky Way, perfect conditions.
Yeah, let's see. I'd probably say I mean, Algonquin is very good because it's, like,
Yeah,
it's so dark up there, but it's a bit of a trek.
yeah,
Um, I think, like, if you're in the GTA and you want Milky Way and it's, like, late spring, early summer, like, I think going east of Oshawa, like Coburg,
right.
if you don't wanna go all the way to, like, Prince Edward County, because like, that's a trek just, like, driving into there,
Yeah,
like, just yeah, like Coburg area, there's like Coburg Beach, the public beach there, like setting up on that beach, like it's pretty dark
nice.
out there, and like you can get pretty nice photos.
Cool, man.
And that's only like an hour and a half from Toronto, and
Yeah,
it helps like you're shooting it over the lake, so it's just like it's dark, right? And you'll get some of the light pollution from the states, like Rochester or whatever.
right, right.
Um, but yeah, it's like very accessible, like just
Okay.
up 401 East, Coburg.
Alright.
Um, Yeah, and then if
Good
you're,
to
like,
know.
looking to just, like, want some nice, like, Northern Star, Big Dipper type of stuff, yeah, as long as you're, like, out of, like, the main, like, city lights, then, like, you're
Yeah,
shooting, like, north, like, Kawartha Lakes I find is really good, like, I've had good success even at, like, Wasaga Beach, which isn't, like,
right.
that far, um,
Man, you should be sponsored by all these, like, tourism
yeah,
boards. When you go out there, it's like,
yeah, at
they should, like,
Ontario Travel, yeah.
they should sponsor you, man. You're
Yeah.
you're you're promoting their
No, yeah, all
their
yeah, all these little nooks and crannies that people
it's
haven't heard
like
of.
yeah, it's like you're promoting Ontario more than, like, the Ontario Tourism Board.
Yeah. I mean, it would
Sorry.
be really cool to work with, like, maybe some of the provincial parks or something that at some
Yeah.
point,
Have you ever reached out to them? Like, have you ever tried to
uh,
get something? Get a deal?
nope, it's just yeah, I've never actually, like, contacted them, I've thought about it, so, I mean,
You
this
never
is just
know.
part of the, like, I just gotta try, right?
Well, that's what it
Uh,
is. You gotta
but yeah.
ask.
Yeah, just ask. I've definitely, like, sent emails out to different, like, townships and stuff and say, like, "Hey, like, I'm a night photographer, I'm taking, like, these photos, like, are you interested?" And then usually it's, like, crickets, don't
Really?
hear anything.
Really? Man, I
Um,
would think they'd be all over it.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Like, don't you want this?
Yeah. The
Nobody
town
else
of
is doing it.
Newmarket's been quite, like, nice, like, um, they've they've used me for, like, a time-lapse video and, like, another
Nice.
print of something, and it wasn't, like, night photography related at all, but,
Yeah.
they liked, like, some way I work, so, yeah, sometimes you just gotta reach out, and sometimes you'll get a response, sometimes you don't, and
Yeah.
but you it's good to try, see what
Yeah.
happens.
Just keep trying until they say no.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you
That's
get a
my motto.
response, right? Yeah,
You never know. I mean, you never know how many, like, emails these people get a day, but,
yeah.
you just never know. I think to me, it's also like timing. Like, so it's like the whole thing is just timing. Oh yeah, we're like running this marketing campaign, and we do need photos of like the night
Mhm.
sky. Blah blah blah. It's like you just
Yeah.
timing, man. You can't really control it. You just gotta keep
Yeah, sometimes you
pursuing.
just gotta put yourself out there and just hope for the best,
Yeah,
like, there's a hotel that just opened up in Newmarket, and they had a call for artwork to, like, put, like,
exactly.
different photos up in the the suites and the lobby
Right.
and stuff,
There you
and
go. See,
I submitted an application, and
there you
they
go.
said, like, "Hey, we like some of these photos,"
Boom.
so I got 3 photos now that are in one of
Nice.
the guest rooms, so
Oh, congrats. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, so that's kinda neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good feeling, eh? Yeah, you
yeah,
never know, man. It just takes one little thing to go your way, and then could be like dominoes, you know?
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Yeah, it's good. It's
yeah,
nice. It's a good piece of advice for everyone.
yeah.
Well, we're up against the hour, man. So I don't want to take up too much of your night. So I just want to say thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, no worries, yeah, thanks
Enjoyed.
for having me. Sorry, I know we've been trying to coordinate it for a
No worries.
while, it just yeah,
No
but glad we
worries.
were able to get her done.
Totally, man. Any final words for the people out there?
Um, yeah,
If you're
yeah,
chasing night skies, contact me.
if you're into night photos and you wanna learn night photography, you can always send me a message, I'll definitely respond to you, but, yeah, just go out and try, like, if you're interested in it, grab a group of friends or
Yeah,
someone else that's interested and,
love
yeah,
it.
just give it a try, like, you can set
Love
up
it.
your basic
Yeah.
settings and play around, and it's okay if it doesn't look okay initially, you'll eventually get
Love
there.
it. Yeah, for sure. It's great. It's great advice, and you'll see Scott roaming the roads as you drive around too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only me late at night, don't worry, it's nothing no one's scary, just a night photographer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Love it. Thanks, Scott. You can check out Scott links in the description of this podcast, and we shall see you next time.
Yeah,
Peace.
awesome.